Hello. We are back for another episode. I think it's like episode 8 of In Conversation with an Expert, and I'm so very excited for today's conversation with Siobhan Cupid-Copland, the Modern Matchmaker, who is going to be expanding our minds and opening our eyes to the wonders of modern matchmaking, exactly what I've called today's conversation, because matchmaking came back onto my radar a few years ago. I was at the UK Dating Awards and I met a whole bunch of matchmakers out there, and it was completely new to me. I was like, hang on a minute, I didn't realize that matchmaking was still a thing. I thought it was a very traditional practice, and then there I was at the UK Dating Awards, surrounded by all these matchmakers, and just so inspired by what they're creating for their clients in their lives. And I've been speaking about it ever since then, because I think it's just such a wonderful addition to your love life if you're serious about meeting someone and creating a beautiful partnership. So I see that Siobhan has joined the conversation, so I am just going to add her in now. Bear with. And thank you to everyone that's joining us so far. I see Caroline, Priya, Rashmi, and hey Siobhan!
Hi, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as well. How are you doing?
I'm a little flustered. I literally just finished a client call 5 minutes ago, and I'm like, my hubby's meant to be home at 6:30, but he says he'll be home in a couple of minutes. So hopefully.
Perfect. Well, it's so great to be here with you. I can't wait to get stuck into our conversation. I was just sharing with everyone here how matchmaking came back onto my radar probably a few years ago, and we were speaking about this on our call last week. I was at the UK Dating Awards, I think back in 2018, and I was surrounded by all of these matchmakers, and I remember feeling really quite shocked by it, because in my mind it was this really traditional thing that happened back in the day, and I didn't realize that it still existed, and it was still something that people were seeking out and creating huge amounts of success with in their lives. So it has a bit of a modern twist now, and obviously you are the modern matchmaker, right? So I can't wait to hear exactly what you're helping your clients to bring into their lives right now. So thank you so much for joining me for this
Thank you so
conversation.
much. No, I really appreciate you reaching out. It's lovely. And yeah, it's good, because it's good to have these sort of conversations, because I think that people do have perceptions, and some people don't even know that we're out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was such a surprise to me. And then to realize that people are having this opportunity to meet people in such I think in a deeply connected way, which I think so many people feel like they're missing out on now with the plethora of online dating sites and dating events and everything, whereas you are offering such a personalized service. So let's dive into it. Tell me, how did you become the modern matchmaker?
So I'll give you the short version. It's funny because obviously, oh hi, thank you. I spoke to thank you the other day.
Hey, Kanke.
Yeah, so I started off doing events. I've always been really sociable, and I guess back in the day I was like a club promoter and all this, getting people in the clubs, and but I just love getting people together, right? So I also worked in the sort of event space of like corporate events and networking, and so networking has always been a really powerful thing, right? And we all kind of want to know how to network. I've always been very good at networking, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. Like, I wasn't this typical person of like leaving school, I'm going to go and do this with my life. Actually, I never even went to university. I had a horrific time in school. I was like bullied the whole way through. I couldn't wait to get out of school and just start like living my own life, working or whatever. And I kind of found myself wandering from job to job, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I'd sort of do a bit of this and I'd always leave after a year. Like, you could never keep me in a job for longer than a year, because I was just like, I'm bored, I need the next challenge. And I think deep down I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And while I was working an office job, I always liked having other hobbies. So, you know, I was doing stuff like writing articles for lifestyle publications. They were sending me out to meet all these celebrities and, you know, do like these product launches and all that kind of thing. Then I was also a radio presenter. And then I was also running speed dating events. So I had a lot of different things going on. But I really enjoyed running these speed dating events, because I could see that there were so many people looking for love. And how I fell into that was, I was also a PA for a comedian. So I had so much going on. So I was a PA for him, and he actually was the first person. His name's Kojo, which a lot of people know now because he was on Britain's Got Talent.
I think we went to school, me and my sisters went to school with him. I'm pretty sure he was in Priya's year. I'm pretty sure it's him.
Okay, he's from Hackney.
Yes.
Yeah, so yes. Okay, right. So, you know, yeah. So he was actually the one that said to me, you know what, like, I've noticed there's a lot of single people coming to my comedy events. He said, why don't you run a singles night? And I was like, okay, that'll be fun, you know. I just did it, and you know, everyone said to me, when are you doing the next one? When are you doing the next one? So I just kept doing them. But then I was like, found myself, you know, gathering information, like the bio data on people right before the event. So, oh right, yeah, Prince,
Yeah, it is Kojo.
Yeah, small world. So, so then I looked at their sort of bio datas, and I found myself kind of going, oh look, these two, he was here last week at the event, but wouldn't they get on if only they were at the same event, right? So I found myself doing that. So before long, I had a database for singles, you know, hundreds. And I just emailed everybody and said, would you like maybe be interested in me setting you up on a one-on-one date? And of course, I was inundated with people going, yeah. Right? So I was like, cool. So I remember just meeting someone for coffee and, you know, finding out as much as possible about them. And then I was like, I know someone I can set you up with. And I set him up with this woman, and they got engaged after 6 months. And at this point, it was still a hobby, right? And then I got made redundant from my day job. And I remember the directors of the architect firm where I was working, they got me into the office and said, Siobhan, you know, I think really they sacked me because I was a really crap admin person. But they didn't want to sack me because they liked me, right? So they were like, look, we're going to have to make you redundant, but a tip for you, don't go and look for another job. And I said, what do you mean? What am I supposed to do? Am I meant to pay my rent? They went, do your business. It's like, what business? You've got a business. You've got a dating business. And they actually offered to invest in me at that point. But and I said, no, I don't want your money. And I just went on. But then I just thought, hey, why not? And I just, you know, continued matching people, and it became an absolute obsession of mine. It took over everything else that I was doing. And yeah, sort of 7 years later, here we are.
Wow, 7 years of making love happen for people.
Sorry, that was a long version. I said I was going to do a short version.
No, I love
really
that.
Version.
I love that, because do you know what? I found so many similarities in, and I think in a way we're kind of kindred spirits there, because I was at school, hated it, same, bullied, teased. I had like literally counted down the days until I was going to walk out those school gates and never come back. And literally craving adult life for it to just get started, because anything was better than what I was experiencing there, right? And then, of course, going into the world of work and not quite fitting, it not feeling quite right. And always having itchy feet of like, no, there's got to be something out there. And I love the way that your journey sort of naturally presented itself to you. Like you were a natural networker, and it's the same for me at work. I would always be the one that would be organizing the social events, like bringing the friends together and everything like that. And these things stand out to us. They're like speaking to us. Sometimes they're whispering, sometimes they're shouting in our faces. And I got made redundant as well. And I remember the next day going to a event where the guy said, was introducing himself to everyone, and he said, you know, what brings you here? And I was like, I was literally made redundant yesterday, and they told us to leave with immediate effect. And he said to me, being made redundant was the best thing that ever happened to him. And I remember just holding on to those words, and they were so true because they sparked a huge journey of deep, deep discovery for me to come to this point of being the fearless dating coach. So do not regret it in the slightest. It was a crazy journey for us, right? But
Yeah,
look
yeah.
what it brought into our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? All these sort of mere coincidences that you think, but actually they all kind of like the dots all end up together, and you're like, I understand the journey now because this is where I'm supposed to be. And I definitely feel now like trust me, I've actually tried to walk away from matchmaking, right? Quite a few times. And it keeps pulling me back in because I guess it's my calling. I've come to accept that now.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And from, you know, I've had a little sneak peek insider access to some of your services, which is fantastic. And it's beautiful to see how naturally it comes to you, and how much of a passion it is for you. So long may it continue, because it's beautiful to see what it's bringing into people's lives. So please do share with us, like, if you had to describe in a nutshell what matchmaking is like nowadays, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
What I've got to say is that my style is actually quite different than a lot of other agencies as well. And I'm also really passionate actually about like exposing some of the agencies that are crooks, okay? Because I'll be honest, I've had people come to me that have been with other agencies, and they have been completely ripped off and treated appallingly. Yeah, where I mean, some of the stories, it's literally brought me to tears. I can't believe that they've been treated like that. So I think I'm going to be completely honest, right? Matchmaking has got this almost elitist type of, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with a lot of agencies, right? There's a lot of, we're going to introduce you to the most sort of, wealthiest, best educated people. And this is a lot of the reason why a lot of people go to Matchmaker, because they're like, literally, I want to meet this really high caliber people, right? So the price tag that's attached to matchmaking can really vary. I mean, you can go from sort of, a couple of thousand up to, I've dealt with matchmakers that charge $250,000, yeah, for membership. So I mean, for me, that blows my mind. I can't imagine ever asking someone for $250,000 to find them a match. I couldn't sleep at night. But, credit to them if they're good at what they do, right? It's hard to put a price tag on it as well. Yeah. And I think I've also had to get comfortable in asking for the right price, right? Yeah. Because it's so much value that you're bringing to someone's life. So matchmaking in my style, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anyone else really, although I collaborate with other agencies and people that I really respect and admire in the industry. I'm highly intuitive. Yeah, I've come to realize this as a gift recently, to the point that it's freaking me out, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, am I like a psychic? Do I need to change my name to the psychic matchmaker, right? Because honestly, it is so weird. The coincidences I could tell you about are freaky. I mean, even like, I'll give you even one weird example.
Yeah.
So like the other day, I had this client, he's very high net worth. He's actually based in the US. Incredible guy. I mean, if I think of myself, I'd fancy him. He looks like Bradley Cooper. He's amazing, right? So I was actually presenting him some matches, and I didn't feel it, right? I was kind of like, look, this is who I've been sent for you from some other agencies as well, but I'm being honest, I'm not convinced that they're really a match for you, but I want to just see what you think anyway. And he looked and he was like, yeah, maybe. I was like, okay. And I don't know why. I just woke up in the morning and I just suddenly thought, let me go on Instagram, because I do headhunt, right? So I went on Instagram. I looked up the city that he's in the US, right? And I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled. And then I saw someone and I went, her, right? So I just messaged her. And I saw, you know, she's not corporate, okay? So a lot of the time agencies are dealing with very corporate people, entrepreneurs and all that. She was like a hairstylist, yeah? And I sent her a message and I said, look, I felt drawn towards you for some reason. I wanted to reach out. I'm looking for my client. And I then looked at a message that he'd sent me the night before. I hadn't yet seen it because I got, you know, two free phones. And on his message, he said to me, look, by the way, she hasn't got to be corporate. In fact, she's probably going to be a hairstylist.
Wow.
I was like, that's really weird. Like, I've found someone, the person I'm drawn to, she's a hairstylist, right? We don't know where this is going to go, right? But I thought, this is just freaky. Like, of all things he could have come out and said, but it's like I picked up on something from him, even though, you know, so there's just been stuff like that happens. But, you know, I love to be able to match intuitively, right? So I like to be able to say, like, again, I had a conversation with me the other day and it was referral. And he said to the person who referred, he said, how much did you tell Siobhan about me? And she said, nothing at all. I just said, this is my friend, you know, this is his occupation. He's looking, okay. He said, because she has got me sussed. He said, there were things that she said that I was like, how do you know that about me? So for me, it's about, I can read people. I can get to know people very quickly. I know even when they're out there looking for what they want, I know what they need. Right? And I think that's what a matchmaker does. If a good matchmaker can be intuitive and say, I'm going to follow my feeling with this one. This feels like a good match. I'm going to go for this. Yeah. I'm not going to go just for whatever you put on your list of paper, you know. And I think this is where the apps have us all confused, because we go on there and we start putting all these filters in for what we're looking for. And that's not how relationships work. You know, if you met someone naturally, I always say, if you met someone at a conference, at a bar, whatever, are you going to stop and say, oh, but hold on, wait, you're 36? Oh, my filter's 34.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you're divorced? Oh, I wouldn't tick that. Okay. But when someone introduces you and says, you know what, regardless of all this checklist, you are just two people that I feel are really going to be aligned. You have the right values. He has the qualities that are going to really be good for you in a partnership. She brings something to the table which you can really benefit from. And that's what it's about. It's about the overall feeling and understanding of two individuals.
That is so true, because I actually did a post about it the other day, you know, to pay attention not to how much you like someone, but actually how compatible you are, right? Like, look at the foundational elements of you, of that person, what you could potentially co-create together. Don't get caught up in the hype of what this person looks like and how much they earn and, you know, all of those things, which is so easily done. And I like what you said about where you help your clients is to help them identify what they need as opposed to what they want. And it's beautiful that you say that, because when clients come on the fearless dating journey with me, as they come to the end of their journey, what they often reflect to me is that they say, well, I finally realized that I want a relationship. I don't need it. So it's not coming from that place of graspiness or like desperation.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect place to then go into that journey with you, right? So could you share with us what makes someone ready, like truly ready to enter into and successfully go through the matchmaking process?
So that's a really great question. And I think that the thing about matchmakers is as well, we're selective, right? We're not going to just take on everyone that comes asking for matches and thinking that we're going to perform miracles overnight, because it's a process, right? So I need to understand a person's expectations from the start. I need to understand, you know, are they willing to actually wait for the right match as well? Because they're not always going to be there. Sometimes there's this perception that we've got this bank of guys that are just going to be suitable for them right away. I'm like, maybe he's not here right now. Maybe I need to go out and find this person for you. And, you know, save your time looking on all the apps, making chit chat with people who you have nothing in common with. you know. So for me, it's about a person that is willing to understand that it is a process. It is not an instant fix. Yeah. And I think sometimes people think that. They think they can throw money at a problem and it's just going to be like, you know, solved straight away. But look, given that, I have a very good track record of making the first match a relationship. Yeah. That is something I am known for, that I can, if I'm free to intuitively match and not keep going by this shopping list, sometimes I get it right first time. And that's always amazing, right? But be aware that you need to also see your own expectations. Stop getting in the way, right? Stop getting in the way of letting me do my job. You've come to me because you know that I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So don't try to micromanage me and tell me what I'm looking for. I don't come and tell you to do your job. So don't tell me how to do mine. Right. So if someone just lets me do my job, then I can make, you know, things happen. And it's also that this expectation of chemistry coming right away.
Yeah.
This is something that I think people need to really understand and be open to, that chemistry is not instant. This is not the movies, you know. And there is this expectation that, you know, when you go meet someone on an app, first date, if there's no spark, you just unmatch, you go on to the next one. And I'm like, no, wait. I have put time in to getting this person for you. I have been highly selective for you. Get to know this person, please. Right? So it's like, you know, so I would say at least 3 dates before you rule out a person. You know, first date nerves, second date, you know, it's a little bit more comfortable. So hopefully you can kind of be more yourself with the person. And third date, you should be able to get a bit more deep, you know, have a bit more of a discussion around kind of values and things, and feel if there's anything there. But you're not going to get that from a first date.
Yeah.
You know?
It's about that exploration, is that willingness to explore with this person, like to really go through the different levels of their, because initially we've all been there, right? First date is for so many people. I mean, clients ask me time and time again, like, Artie, how do I make a good impression on someone? And that is what dating, the initial stages of dating turns into making a good impression. And you need to get to that stage of where that facade, that persona, whatever that person's putting on, has had that opportunity to come down, for the veil to be removed, and for the real personality, the real character to stand out. And that's where the chemistry starts to have the opportunity to build.
You're not going to get chemistry by being inauthentic.
Yes.
You've got to be authentic, you know. And I had a conversation the other day with someone who's like, you know, she's like a news anchor and all this. And, you know, we had a lovely conversation. And at the end of it, she said to me, so who would you match me with? I said, honestly, I can't tell you right now. She said, why not? I said, because you need to cut the act. I said, this whole conversation, you've been talking to me like you're doing a YouTube tutorial. I said, I need to get to know the real you. And when I see the real you, then I can tell you. And she said, you know what? For that reason, I like you, and I'm going to come spend my money with you because you're real. And I said, that's it. Sometimes you just need to hear the truth. Don't, you know, people want to hear all the time, a lot of the time, you know, what they want to hear. And I don't tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear, and I tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because otherwise, and that's it. You've got to, you know, I've had clients kick off because I've done a video, you know, that's given advice. And it's like, oh, that hit too much of a nerve. And it's been taken as like this personal attack. And I'm like, hold on, wait. You're not the only person who has this issue. I'm speaking to a lot of people who can do with hearing this advice. If you're not ready to take it, you're not ready to be matched.
Yes, exactly. That's so true. I think that is why it's so important for us to, and I love how you are so straight talking and straight to the point, because that's what is needed in this area, right? People are wasting so much frigging time by thinking, oh, well, this is what I need. This is how I've got to put myself out there. What's the quickest, fastest route to creating that?
Yeah.
Now, I've said it here on plenty of episodes. I bang on about it on my channel, in my posts all of the time. Connect to the gravitas of what you're trying to create with someone. for the vast majority of people that choose to work with me, it's for the long-term committed relationships. And of course, that is very likely to be the case for your clients as well.
Yeah.
So do you expect, as you said, for that person to just land straight in your lap as soon as you signed up to the matchmaker or the website or the dating event? Is it just going to happen just like that? No. Things that are important in our lives take time, effort, grit, determination, all of those things. They require us to be proactive and show up consistently. And if there's anything that we press hard, or like really press on here for those of you that have joined us tonight and watching this on the replay, is that if you're serious about creating committed, lifelong love in your life, then you have to ask yourself the question. And it's so funny, Siobhan, actually, there's always a theme when I'm coaching someone. Each week there seems to be a theme. And this week's theme has been about people asking themselves, how important is this to you? How important is this that you meet the love of your life, that you create that beautiful relationship in your life? And therefore, how important is it that you do the work that is involved to create that?
It is. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, I say to people, look, I don't want to just get you like on a date. You know, you can go and get dates by yourself. I want you to get into a relationship that you're going to be able to stay in, but you're going to have to realize your flaws. I mean, I even had a conversation with someone today who actually called me for dating advice. And the funny thing was, she called me and was like, I'm going to go through a divorce. Yeah. And I want to know what's available to me when I get my divorce finalized. Right. And, you know, I could have quite easily been like, okay, well, look, here's my rate. This is what I do. But no, what I did, I delved deep. And I said, okay, interesting. So what's brought you to this point? You've got a young child, you're getting divorced. That's tragic, right? You shouldn't be, you know, this is not something to be happy about, right? A family breaking up. I mean, I'm from a broken home myself. I don't want to see anyone in a broken home situation. So I'm like, you know, let me find out about what's really gone down. You know, this conversation turned it completely around to this about an hour conversation where now I think I may have helped to fix her marriage, where she can actually try to repair this marriage that was failing. And you know what? It was because she was playing the role of the man in the relationship. And I told her straight. I was like, you are showing up as the man. This is the problem. Like all this doing, all this over functioning, all of this that you're doing, is not working. And you know what? She couldn't agree more. She came to some realizations of things. And I said, I think before you go signing those divorce papers, I said, do you want to get divorced? She said, I've been crying about it. I said, right. So I don't want to talk to you about matchmaking. I want you to try to figure out what it is that you've done to bring the relationship to this point. And now, before it was fighting for, I want to get married, I want to have a kid, you know. I said, now you've got to fight for everything that you thought you always wanted, because now you're on the verge of losing it all. I said, so all of this pushing and all of this that you've been doing is only heading you to the divorce courts. It's not brought your relationship any stronger, any closer. I said, you cannot force someone to do things, to love you, to do things for you. You know, it's about being in your feminine and allowing, you know, a man to lead the relationship. You know, the funny thing was she was a bus driver, and I said, you know, you're just driving this relationship. I said, you can drive the bus, but don't drive the relationship. That doesn't work.
I love that. I think it proves the point of what you said about, you know, in that moment you shared with her what she needed, not what she thought she wanted.
Yeah.
Right. And it echoes so many conversations that I get to have with clients who are looking for this quick fix solution of like, oh, okay, maybe I should work with a matchmaker. Okay, maybe I should sign up to this elite dating service, whatever it is. And the thing is, we have to always bear in mind that these services that we offer, so your matchmaking service, the coaching work that I get to do, will lead someone to the door, right? But what are you going to do when you get into the room? Like, do you know how to co-create deep connection with your partner? Do you know how to maintain and nurture and help a relationship grow? Do you know how to ride through the difficult times without feeling like, as you know, case in point with your client that you just spoke about, without feeling like you want to run for the door, you want to run for the hills and bring it to an end? And they are skills to really work on and develop. And they're all, sometimes people think, oh, I'll practice that, I'll learn that when I'm in the relationship. Hell no. No way. That is a surefire way to bring that relationship to close. Yeah. It's the road to disappointment and heartbreak. No, you practice those skills. You learn those skills at the earliest given opportunity. They happen with your family, your friends, your colleagues, your clients, whoever you have in your life is an opportunity to practice healthy relationship with. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, go on. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No. I just agree with you. Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. That leads me to ask you then, who is matchmaking not for?
So yeah, good question. It's not for people who think it's a quick fix solution. It's not for people who are driven by their ego. And not everybody recognizes that they are making ego-based decisions. And for me, it's about leading with love. You know, as cheesy as that sounds, you know, it is. So you have to be able to connect with your heart. And so it's not for people who are not willing to do the work. Like you said, you know, they just want this kind of, people are not like products. That it's not just a thing to acquire.
Yeah.
Like it takes two willing participants to want to, you know, resolve, to work through things, to connect, to be open, to be vulnerable. You know, there's just so much at play. And I think that a lot of us, you know, it's not our fault necessarily because we've not had the right modeling. We've not been taught it in schools. You know, I've even been trying to push for this to be taught in schools more, right? Because I just think that we go out into the world and we can achieve our PhDs and everything, but there are people I speak to, Cambridge educated, PhDs, a lot of it, you know, they're getting to 50 years old and they've never managed to have a relationship. And I think that's so sad, you know, because I'm not saying, like you said, it's not like you need a relationship. Of course, you can survive without it. Yeah. But what a wonderful thing it is when, you know, you have someone by your side in life that is, you know, supporting you through everything. You're supporting one another, love, affection. Gosh, you know, let's say even we're social creatures, right? But we're also sexual creatures as well. And so we can't get by just having sort of meaningless sex. We need the kind of sex that's like about connection. It's a spiritual connection that you share with someone. It's incredible. Yeah. You know?
It's that deep layered love that you get to experience with someone. And next to the relationship that we have with ourselves, our intimate relationship with our partner is one of the most important relationships that we are going to have. And so do we have what it takes? Have we prepared ourselves enough to be able to create and, as I said, nurture and grow that over time with them? So important. So with matchmaking, how does someone, if, for example, someone came to inquire about your services, would you get them to perform a few checks and balances in their own life before you take them on board?
So, I mean, look, I'm not sort of here making them do sort of so much psychoanalysis and all of this, and you know, but as I said, for me, I think I've got a very good understanding of people, and I can pick up just from one phone call. I know whether this person has got some underlying issues, and I'm very easy to point out, right? So obviously we do some checks in regards to sort of, you know, where they're working and all that, background checks and kind of thing. But what kind of checks are you referring to, just to make sure that I'm answering your question?
Yeah, correctly? No, you're on the right line in terms of like how their readiness, essentially.
Right, yeah. So, you know, we do work with various things like Myers-Briggs, which is just, you know, obviously indicating more of their sort of personality, which is really quite I mean, it's a very good test. There's also Helen Fisher test, which we've been using, and the love languages. And I think that's really important to kind of understand your love language as well, you know, because, and we talk about love languages, there's a book on it, right?
Yes.
And you can take the test, and it's like 5 key languages. So acts of service, you know, whether you are, and I think acts of service is a wonderful sort of, you know, trait to have in a relationship, because it is about doing things for one another, showing up and, you know, being there to help lighten the load, as it were, with, you know, with life in general. So yes, we do a bit of exploration around personality, a bit of psychoanalysis, in that sense, some of the tests that we do. But, you know, I know straight away from speaking to someone whether I think they're ready for the process. And as I said, I'm quite blunt in saying, look, you know, maybe you should give this a try, do the online dating for a bit, or, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that more power to you for that, because that's what we need more and more of in this area of our lives, and to stop fantasizing ourselves, as I said, that it's going to all land in our laps and we'll work it out as it go along. We need to do the preparation work and really be ready to step into that level of relationship.
Exactly. And you know what? I never chase a client to come to work with me. Never, ever, ever, ever. I hate chasing after money. I like making money, but I hate chasing it. And I don't chase anyone to work with me, because I feel if they are ready, they know the terms, they know what it is, and they will come to me when they're ready.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I think that's what people need as well. It's taking responsibility, isn't it? It's that ownership of your love life. All right, okay, if I'm serious about this, then I'm proactively going to engage with you, to work with you, alongside you on this journey, not to be someone that you know, sits back, expects you to do all the work, or puts up, you know, blockers.
Work with me.
Like
Exactly. I don't work for my clients. I work with them.
So true. It's so true with the coaching work as well. It's like, I'm not here to create the transformation in you. The transformation happens within you. I'm there to walk alongside you and help, you know, bring that out. But of course, definitely the work begins with you. Which, yes, I love the synergy between our work. It's really, really cool to see this.
The ideal scenario, honestly, Artie, would be that someone has done some coaching and then they come to me, go, I've done that, I'm ready to be matched.
Oh, I've just gone on mute.
You know, that's ideal. Oh, have you gone on mute? Sorry, my battery flashed. It was running low.
Okay. Could you just repeat that bit again? So the ideal scenario would be...
Someone comes to me and says, I've had some coaching, you know, I've done the work, I've worked on my limiting beliefs, my self-sabotaging behaviours, you know, all of that, my outer child and inner child behaviours, and, you know, even had therapy maybe, and then comes and goes, I'm ready to be matched now. That's great.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
and they
so
do complement each other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true, because when someone goes on the fearless dating coaching journey, there's, at the end of the program, I have something called Date and Create, which is once they've done all the deep work and they've learned all the skills and we've gone through the training together, they then have the opportunity to actually go out and date and meet people and put this stuff into practice. Now, it would have been really easy for me to end the program at the point where they've learned and been taught everything and done all that deep inner work. But we know that's not how it works. You go out into the world, and these well-worn neural pathways that have you showing up in a certain way, or probably not speaking up or speaking too much, and those patterns that we've become so accustomed to experiencing in our dating lives, because it is such a well-worn neural pathway, they show up on that first date or that second date. And that's the point at which people can get really disheartened and think, oh, shit, you know, I've just spent all that money, invested all that time in working with someone, and I'm just doing the same damn thing over and over and over again. Or the beauty of this is that you get supported in that, so that a new neural pathway has an opportunity to be created and be strengthened, and the old one has the time to just disappear, right? And then,
we need support. We need support in this area for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then that's the place where you're like, oh, I can really step into being clear with my matchmaker about what I'm looking for, and for you to be able to help me in creating that. So yeah, it's really, really beautiful, that journey that someone can go on with you. So with that in mind, when someone enters into the matchmaking process with you, so you've got two tiers of service from what I saw. So you've got the sort of lower tier, I guess, where people have the membership with you, where you're not actively headhunting on their
Right.
behalf, right? So could you
Yeah.
explain that one a bit more, please?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. So there's two tiers, as you said. One is to be in my sort of little black book, right? So when I'm
Nice.
like looking for matches, so I'm losing my voice. I'm speaking so much today. Um, so when I'm looking for matches for my clients, that you can be in the database, and obviously you'll get pulled up potentially in our sort of database. Our database is private, so only the matchmakers see it, and our clients only see profiles that we select to show them. Yeah. And I usually kind of, show them over like a Zoom call and be like, this is someone I'm looking for you. What do you think? And then they can email it and they have it. But it's very private. So it's nothing that anyone can just go searching for like online. But at the back end, for us, it looks like an online site, but like no one can see it,
Yeah.
right? So so that's to be in that. And there's no guarantees with that. It's literally just to sort of be in our pool, and be potentially introduced. And, obviously, if you're the sort of person that, generally is the sort of caliber of individual that our clients are looking for as such, because our clients are generally looking for the same kind of thing in many ways, which I guess is someone that's got a job. That's a start.
Job, it's a must.
Someone that's obviously got ambition and drive, someone that takes care of their appearance, that obviously wants something long term, with the right partner. They're ready to get into something with somebody, so that's generally the sort of tick list, that we want to kind of look to as a starting point. So yeah, if you're kind of ticking those boxes, it's very likely that you may get a call. But we only work with a sort of smaller number of clients. So the database is large. Well, I say large, I don't like to keep it too big, because for me, when someone comes to me and says, oh, well, I only want to work with Matchmaker that's got, thousands and thousands of profile, I go, well, they're not matching many people then, are they? Because they shouldn't still be sitting in your database.
Yeah.
They should be getting out of dates and getting matched if you're doing your job right?
Yeah.
So online dating sites, sure, they want to keep loads of people on there because they want to keep making their subscription money. So yeah, that's the one. And that's like, a couple of £100 basically to be on that database. And we write up your profile for you and all of that. And the other tier is to be a client. And that's us proactively, intuitively finding you matches in that little black book, asking around the other agencies that we work with as well, doing a bit of headhunting. You've got a whole team dedicated to finding you matches over a period of time. And then you're looking to invest in the thousands for that, rightly so, because there's a lot of time that really goes into that process.
Yeah. And what's included? Because I know there's a few other added perks as part of that package as well. What's included for anyone that signs up to that more, I guess, VIP package, isn't it?
Yeah. So we guarantee you a number of introductions. Something about the way that I work, I don't like to limit. There are some agencies that are just working to meet that quota. Yeah. They're just saying, look, once we've sent them 6 matches, our job's done. That's not the way I work. For me, it's like saying, look, there's a guarantee that I'm going to be at least presenting you this number of people while you're working with me. You sort of on the basis that some might say no, you might say no. But look, I'm going to keep introducing you if I feel there are people that are worth you meeting during that period of time. So it's kind of unlimited to a degree, within reason, right? If anyone thinks they're getting matches every week, like, no, that's not happening. I'm only introducing you when I actually feel I've got a match for you, right? And obviously you do get a photo shoot, you get your profile written, you do get some coaching with that as well. I mean, you get an initial sort of coaching session. Obviously there's feedback that comes following the introductions as well. Something I am doing now, if clients still want to be online, have an online presence, we're also helping them to manage and actually pick matches for them online as well, which is really interesting. Because, you know, there are people on there online, of course, like we all know people that have met people online, but I think when we're doing it by ourselves, we're not actually looking where we should be looking a lot of the time. So
we're not as discerning about it, are we?
Yes, I think having a matchmaker pick matches for you is a really great thing to have, because I know what I'm looking for. I'm not going to waste time reading through everyone's profile. I can just literally take one look at them and go, no, not based on the look, but I just intuitively know, reading this person, it's a no, you know, so that's really what's included. But it's, you know, there's so much value in it, because I mean, some of my clients have worked with me, you know, for 6 months, which is our typical sort of program thing. And they'll be getting ready to renew, but then just at the end of the 6 months, you know, they're matched. Or sometimes they want to continue working with me. So like, look, you know, I haven't found my match yet, but I've had a wonderful experience. And for me, that is it. It's about having a positive dating experience where you're respected. And, you know, yeah, it's about respect, right? Because some people are getting disrespected online.
Yeah. That's something that I speak about a lot. It's like, this is about bringing love, respect, dignity, and integrity back into dating, whichever way of dating you choose to follow. Bring that level of intention in, and you will receive it. You will receive it if you're willing to be discerning, if you're willing to really not waste time and energy where it really should not be spent.
Right. You know, I mean, even today I was looking at my client. She's, you know, in her 40s, and I'm like, you've been liking all these guys that are 32. I'm like, you want to have a kid? I was like, what are you wasting your time liking up all these 30-year-old guys? You know, they might look nice, but I said, they're not going to be giving you a child right now. So I said, right, start again, change your filter, you know. And I think sometimes you've got to just be that direct. It's very easy when you're online, especially, just to kind of, again, ego-wise, we just want to be liked. We want someone good-looking to like us back. But good-looking is not going to, you know, it's not going to warrant a relationship, is it?
It's not gonna sustain the relationship. It's gonna disappear at a certain point. So if that's all you're in it for, then it's good luck to you. Right?
Exactly. So
could you share with us a success story, one of your favorite success stories that you've had on your journey of matchmaking?
I mean, I've got quite a few.
I can imagine.
I've got someone even close to you. That was a nice one as well. I don't know if it's too soon to talk about that one, but you know, I think generally speaking, it's hard to pick a favorite, right? I've not got a favorite couple, because every match has been so special in its own way. But I think, just generally speaking, what it is for me is it's when someone's actually usually said, oh, I'm not sure at first, but they've taken my advice and they've gone with it. That is the main thing. That's where I get the most satisfaction, because I'm like, you see, if you would have been on your own, you would have missed that great relationship and opportunity. And I think that is it. Sometimes just having someone on your side, in your ear, going, just try one more time. That's when it ends up, you know, being something amazing.
Yeah, and I can attest to that, because I've been in that situation myself, where I've been with, you know, I've met someone and then I'm like, but you know, he's not quite this or he's not that. But, you know, just giving it that, no worries, just giving it that extra bit of time and attention, and man, something so profoundly beautiful has been created as a result of it. So definitely stick with the process, do the work, really get to know each other. And it is about this you know, really looking at compatibility in terms of values, lifestyle choices. What's the longer term dream that you have? Is it something that you share and have in common? So absolutely stick with the process. So I wanted to ask you, actually, because obviously last summer something hit on Netflix screens that I think also brought a lot more attention to the world of matchmaking, and it was Indian matchmaking. Did you watch the whole series?
I did. Yeah. I mean, I love any dating shows, you know. Yes, I did. You're going to ask me my opinion on it now,
Yeah,
aren't you?
I'm really curious to know.
Do you know what? It's kind of, it's not as fresh in my mind now because it was last summer. But I think, I mean, look, she was more traditional. She was a typical auntie, wasn't she? And that's not how I work, and that's not how any of us here in London work. You know, but she had some golden nuggets of advice, though.
Yeah.
She did, you know, and I know some people were really offended, and there was a bit of outrage about it. But as I say, I mean, I was managing, you know, an Indian-only introduction service at the time, and we got a lot more inquiries. But what I did find was we were getting a lot of inquiries from aunties, uncles, and brothers and sisters, rather than what we usually get, which is the person, you know. And I think that's the only thing, that it's kind of this sort of all the family then sort of kind of picking, and that's what people avoid, right? A lot of people don't want that. They don't want family picking. They want to be able to feel that they're empowered to make their own decisions and find a partner that they feel is right for them, rather than the family going, oh yeah, they're from a good family, yeah, they'll do, you know.
Yeah.
So what's your take on it?
I had mixed feelings and emotions on it, because of course there was some things that were just like, what is she doing and what is she talking about, and this whole repetition of, what is it, slim, trim and educated or something, over and over and over again. It's like, hang on a minute, we've moved way past that. And then there were the, you know, the interfering mummies, and then the coaches that were giving advice but then completely going on against their advice as well. But it was entertaining, I'll give you that much. It definitely was entertaining. But the reason I asked you about it is because an experience that one of my clients has was not long after that program came out, she spoke with a matchmaking agency, and she is of Indian origin herself, but the matchmaker was not. And the matchmaker made huge assumptions about going straight to asking her about, well, what does your family want? What would they, you know, what are they looking for? And obviously very much taking the stereotypical image of an Indian family and all of that from that program, and really just kind of plonked it onto my client. And it was hugely offensive and upsetting for her to be treated in that way. So there's actually a question that's come through, I think, that's in line with what we're talking about here. So R.D. Hamilton says, I'm sorry if I'm late to this, but do your clients typically have preferences along racial lines?
Okay. So, yeah, that's obviously in line with what we're talking about. The short answer is no. I mean, look, when I was managing the Indian to Indian introductions agency, obviously they would have a preference for someone that was Indian in most of the time, because that's the nature of the agency, right? It is about that sort of cultural match as well. But what I did find was, a lot of the time, though, people were saying to me, you know, yes, it's easier to have someone that's sort of a cultural match, but I am open. And I think that's really, you know, that's the way the world is now. It's like, yes, we may have sometimes, it may be just that bit easier to be with someone that's different culture, but at the same time, a lot of people are saying, actually, it's actually really nice to have that contrast of cultures as well. So if someone ever comes to me and says, I'll only date this culture, I mean, even if it's the other way around, right? For example, if I have a black woman that says to me, I'll only date white guys, I'm just like, what is that about? Like, there's an issue, there's a deep-rooted issue there, because you should not be making your choices based on race. You know, especially when you have this almost like resistance towards your own race. I find that's a bit of a self-hate thing at times, if I'm being completely honest. So I would always kind of try to steer away from entering into a client relationship when I feel that that's the, you know, that is the kind of, it's getting a bit of feedback noise, isn't it? It's because I've got my headphone on.
I think we're okay. Yeah, I can't hear myself.
So yes, so no. I mean, I don't have anyone saying to me, you know, I won't date. I mean, I must admit, I do sometimes get resistance around religion, you know, but I understand that, because I guess, again, it's a values thing. So I think that I could probably justify more. You know, if someone's an atheist, they're not going to want to date someone very religious. Fine, you know, I get that. So yes, no, not really.
Yeah, and it's great to hear, because I again, with clients, you know, they speak about wanting to work with agencies where they have, at least the matchmaker has an understanding of the cultural background and can take that into account as they're making the matches, because of course cultural upbringing can have a big impact on the kind of relationships that we want to create, the kind of lifestyle that we want to lead, etc. But I think for me, as a result of that program, just to hear this experience that someone had where it was literally, well, you're Indian, I'm not really going to ask you about what you want, but what does your family want? And I'm just going to take away from this experience that I've seen of what's being put on TV and apply it to you. And I felt that was another reason why it was so important for us to have this conversation today, for people to realize matchmaking is not this old-fashioned fuddy-duddy, it's all about everyone else but you kind of process.
No, gosh, no, yeah, no. And look, don't get me wrong, matchmaking, as an, you know, some of the matchmaker colleagues might not like me saying this, but as an industry, it is quite predominantly white British, here in this country. You know, most of the agencies, there are offices in Mayfair, and a lot of the time they are quite, you know, they were catering a lot of the time. I have once seen on an agency site, which I was appalled by, was that they offer colour discounts.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So if you're a person of colour,
wow,
you get 50% off.
Okay,
And I just
have
can't
no
believe.
words.
And this is like last year. I'm not even talking about years ago.
Wow.
They have this up on their website. So there is some of that out there, right, which is disgusting and completely unacceptable. But I think that's another reason why sometimes people do feel comfortable coming to me, because I'm a mixed race woman who grew up in a very multicultural, you know, society area, you know. So I can relate to just about every culture. You know, I've lived in a different country where the culture was very different. You know, I've lived in the Middle East. I grew up in the East End. Caribbean, Irish, English, and even a bit Jewish. So I literally kind of, you can't put me in a box, right? So I can relate to everyone's different cultures, and I think that's sometimes why people do feel more comfortable coming to me as a matchmaker as well. There is an element of that.
Yeah, definitely. And we're getting a few wait what and damns coming through based on what you just shared. That is crazy that something like that is still happening right now. I mean, that's terrible. But right. But another question from RD Hamilton. What's the typical age range of people who use your services? Great question.
Yeah. So, I mean, typically it's 35 plus. I think that generally, you know, people may be not thinking that seriously when they're in their 20s, and I don't expect you to. If I have someone coming to me when they're in their 20s, I'm kind of like, I don't think you need to spend money on this right now. I think you just need to like find yourself and figure out who you are, and, you know, do your career, have a bit of fun, you know, date. But don't invest like you need to find someone tomorrow, because it's not, you're not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So typically, it's sort of 35 plus. I think, again, it speaks to society, right? People are, you know, women included, are focusing and putting career and education first now. So marriage, children and stuff is coming as a later priority. So, you know, people often come to me when they are at a position where they feel very secure financially, emotionally, with who they are and everything. And that generally tends to come at sort of, you know, 30 plus, but I would say average 35. And then it goes up to sort of 45, and then there's sort of jump to sort of, you know, slight gap where it's like 50 plus. So my youngest client actually at the moment is 28, so she's very serious to settle down, and she's very mature for her age, so I would take someone on that age. And my eldest client is 65, so it's quite broad.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And I think, you know, that brings us sort of right back to making sure where we started, right? Do the preparatory work, right? Get really clear on how important this is to you to have this kind of relationship in your life and what you're willing to do to create it. answered those questions, and I think it really puts you in a great position to then open up having that conversation with you about potentially working together. So thank you so much, Siobhan. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Likewise.
It's been wonderful just to delve into this world a bit more with you, and I hope everyone that joined us here today or who is watching this on the replay has got a lot from our conversation. Please do give Siobhan a follow here at the Modern Matchmaker, but then you also have your, is it Cupid in the City and Cupid in the Country accounts as well,
so I'm
right?
a bit of dating empire at the moment, so I've actually got a few going. I've got
I love it.
is the main one, and then Cupid in the Country, is for the sort of home counties. And I have just launched another one specifically for Christian singles, which is Christian-connections.com as well. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I know some people that I can point in the direction of Christian Connections as well. That's fantastic. Awesome. So yeah, you're definitely putting it out there, which is great. I think this is such a wonderful service for anyone that is deeply ready to start creating the space for wonderful love in their lives. Do the work, and then show up at Siobhan's door and let her and her team guide you through this beautiful journey, which is so wonderful.
And if you're not ready, go to RT and then.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a wonderful journey to take people on here. So yeah, absolutely. If you feel like you could do with doing a bit of that deep work, preparing yourself for the beautiful relationship that you're looking for, then the Fearless Dating Group Coaching Program starts next month on March the 16th. I'm holding coaching tryouts for it right now. So do reach out to me and we can absolutely have that conversation and make it happen. So thank you so much, Siobhan. Loved our conversation. Looking forward to lots more work together in the future as well. And yeah, thank you for it was a busy evening for you, I know. So thank you for dedicating the time. And I will make sure that I post this replay so you can all watch it back if you've missed the start, and I'll make sure to tag you in as well, Siobhan, so you can share this on your end as well.
Thank you so much. Lots of love to you and family.
You too. Take care.
Take care. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.